Welcome back to the Draft and Stash on Thursday, which means it's NBA Thursday, and we have a very special episode. This isn't going to be live because it's going to require a lot of editing, but we're doing a full 2-round mock draft, maybe some trades. If you're just interested in your team and just want to blast passes here, there will be timestamps below, so you can go right to your team. But for everybody else who's here to like kick ass and just hear out everything going on and look at all the draft gloriousness, welcome. But before we can do anything, got to do that opener. Welcome back, guys. All right, and of course, our mock draft 2.0 wouldn't be complete without the guy that carried the entire first one. Chip is back, our personal draft guru. I'm just glad you're here so that I can sound smarter via like in your aura.
Dude, that's way too much credit. I appreciate it. Way too much. That's a lot to live up to, man. Too.
It is, man. Yeah, don't let us down.
No, the bar's so high. It can only
it's
go
so high.
one way. So, but we had a great time last time.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
So things are a little bit different this time, as opposed to us just going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All of us, or I say all of us, all three of us, drafted 10 teams each, and then we figured out that team's roster and their needs and stuff. And so we are going to be the GMs for those 10 teams specifically. Trades are also allowable. We'll try to keep the talking a minimum so that doesn't take over everything. But we're just going to get right into it. Frank, you are the GM of the Pistons.
The Pistons.
Let me throw your
number one, baby. Long time coming for this team. All right, so I think I'm gonna need the full 2 minutes here to decide who I want to pick. Let me look through my board here. No, we know who's going number one here to the Pistons, guys. Let me go ahead and get him off the board here. I'm gonna go ahead and take the 6'8" guard out of Oklahoma State, Cade Cunningham.
All right.
I guess I'll wait until after that next time. I'll cue you for the next one.
It's all good.
Yeah. So Cade Cunningham, man, average 20 points. Is a dynamic scorer. He's got tremendous size out of the guard position. He's got franchise type potential, plus 7-foot wingspan just to add to the physical attributes. And he's a great shooter who shows potential of getting even better. One thing he really needs to work on, though, he needs to improve his assist-to-turnover ratio. It was actually negative in college, which is not great as a point guard that is leading your offense, but he, controls the flow in other ways. But he averaged 3.5 assists and 4 turnovers. That's something as the GM of the Pistons that I'd love to see him improve on. But we're excited to take Cade. I think he's going to lead our franchise into the future, pairing him with Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey, our other young players. I'm excited.
All right. Chip, anything to add from Frank's thoughts?
There's good talent at the top, but I think it's pretty cut and dry that the NBA has been dominated by these 6'8" plus wings. This kind of like apex predator type wings, and Cade Cunningham's probably just the next iteration of that. So this is the franchise guy you want to go with at the top.
Everybody's really, really high on him. We've talked about it and how I'm not as high. I think he's actually 4th on my board, which I know is crazy. Once he shows it to me, I'll believe it. But I also kind of loom on more of his weaknesses with him kind of being turnover prone. I don't know if his shot is going to really get good at the next level. I don't know if he has that like a corner turning speed yet. Maybe he won't need it because he's so crafty. But until he shows me that I shouldn't be worried, I kind of am worried. So let's move on to the next pick, which is me actually. Houston's in a very weird spot. They're coming off of a hopeful playoff run that ended with them trading away franchise player James Harden, bringing back John Wall. But they got a pretty good signing. They done like a guy like Christian Wood. Unfortunately, he got hurt, and their team never really recovered. At this point, I don't know who to pair with Christian Wood. Kevin Porter has shown flashes of why he was great in college and why he was a fun prospect. But he's shown flashes of why he was drafted so low because he's such a headache. So do I go Evan Mobley, who could be this next level unicorn, defensive, mobile, awesome center? I don't know if he pairs well with Christian, or do I go Jalen Green, who I think could be a next level elite top scorer like in the league? I'm going to go against tradition here and what everybody's saying, and the pick is in. As the Houston Rockets GM, I'm going to select Jalen Green. This might be kind of crazy. Maybe they can trade down a little bit. I just think Jalen Green shows that he has every capable talent. He has great size. He has amazing bounce. He's really smart. He's very personal, a great personality. He's a good playmaker. His shot making is at this point very proven. His body's a little small, unfortunately. But I think in due time, he will grow beyond that. I see the next Kobe here. I see a dude who's getting 30 a night. And I think I rather roll the dice on a new wing needed league because I feel like the whole big man thing is kind of taking like a back step here, but you have to have a really good wing nowadays. And I believe that Jalen Green is that guy. Do y'all think I am crazy, or what do y'all think?
No, I mean, I definitely don't think you're crazy. I have actually come around quite a bit on Jalen Green. I always thought that he was one of the 5 best guys in the draft, but I think the more I watch, the more I like, and the more you watch these playoffs, the more you appreciate his skill set, right? Like, you have to have guys that can create their own shot when it's, the game starts to slow down and the defenses tighten up, the possessions matter so much. You need guys like Jalen Green who can go get you buckets. So, no, I mean, like, it's not who I would have picked. And I can say as the Cavs GM, I'm excited about the guy I'm about to pick. But look, no, I think it's totally reasonable.
Frank, any words on Jalen Green?
I just would say I could see this happening. I think the fit's better than with Evan Mobley, just given they have Christian Wood as their franchise, big man center of the future. But, I think they could find a way to pair Mobley and Wood. But I really like the fit with Jalen Green. He's a great scorer. They need that kind of thing, or kind of player. And like you said, that kind of thing is at a premium right now in the league. So,
yeah. So up next, Mr. Chip, you are Cleveland. Is it going to take you a while here?
It will not take me long. This one's going to be quick. I just want to say that Kevin Love, once upon a time, was traded for the number 1 pick in the draft. So real quick, is Cade Cunningham available for Kevin Love?
No.
I would say the Pistons would like to rescind that offer. I don't think we would take Kevin Love.
Selfish.
That's fair. I just, it worked for LeBron, so I just thought I'd try. So, no, I think the pick is in for the Cavs.
All right.
So this is kind of cool. I feel like this is my David Stern moment. So with the third pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to take Evan Mobley from USC. This is the guy that I think, if you were to slide him number 1 in this draft, it's totally reasonable. I think he's about as perfect of a big man prospect as you can get. He's mobile. He moves unbelievably well for someone that big. He's a defensive anchor who you can immediately start building a tremendous defense around. And he can also be the fulcrum center point of an offense. He's inside, outside, already has some pretty advanced post moves, already has a really nice touch on a jump shot. And he checks every box you want in a modern day big. You imagine him being able to switch throughout in the playoffs. It's everything you want. And now you add that with Darius Garland and Colin Sexton, and even Okoro, who they picked last year. You can start to see a little bit of a foundation for the Cavs.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I think everything you said is right. I mean, Mobley shows that he has great size. He's awesome on defense, and not only is he great on defense, it's just his instincts plus his ability to actually move his feet and his hands, and like he doesn't really get like in foul trouble. He shows signs of being like a playmaker. I think his jump shot is his only thing that's really going to have to take a little bit more work for him to be like this next level, next like Embiid style like player or something, whatever. But I mean, Ayton has shown us that you can have like three of the top 5 needed tools and end up being a guy who's like 20 and 10, like and changing things or whatever and stuff. So I mean, like it's hard to pass on Mobley, and I don't think Houston will. I'm just more a double guard guy than like a big guy.
Yeah, I love Mobley's talent, man. Just a couple things I would like to see him work on. He's pretty bad free throw shooting. He needs to get better at that. And really, with the guy his size, he's not going to really be banging with the Joel Embiids or the Jokic's of the league for a while. So I'd like to see him extend his range, and I think he could. So I like to pick.
We have Toronto next. Who is Toronto?
That's me.
Mr. Frank. All right.
Number 4.
Let's go.
All right. So, we're sort of in a halfway rebuild type thing here in Toronto or Tampa Bay. We're the kind of the Tampa Bay Raptors right now. But I think I know who I would like to pick. The pick is in.
Wow, that was super fast.
And with the 4th overall pick, the Toronto Raptors, we're going to take Jalen Suggs, the guard out of Gonzaga. He came up short in his college career, 1 win short of a championship, but what more could you ask out of this guy? He's a tremendous floor general. He's got the IQ. He's got the athleticism. He's got the speed. I just think this guy is going to be a perfect Kyle Lowry replacement. He's going to come in, fill those shoes perfectly. He's almost like a stand-in for him physically. So one thing he'll have to his advantage coming into the league, I think he's going to be a tremendous on-ball defender just right away. He's got the speed and the strength. And, he's a confident scorer. One thing he needs to work on is shooting. He needs to be a little bit better from the 3-point line. He's a little streaky there, but he's got a decent true shooting percentage. And, I think he's going to come in and lead this franchise.
I love Jalen Suggs. He is number 2 on my board, actually. But I just said I like guards. What's funny is that when I first started hearing his name and stuff, when the college season started, I was thinking it was all hype. And then just the more I watched, the more he sold me. And he just plays hard, and he just a shot maker. He rebounds well. He does everything that you want a lead guard to do. I think he has the best floor probably of these top 4 guys. I don't know if his potential is as high as the others, but if he can be a dude who is a quasi all-star for you for his entire career, I mean, you take that. He can almost be like another version of like Brandon Roy, and if he could ever get to like that level, then he is a huge steal. Chip, what do you think?
Yeah, Jalen Suggs he's the best way I can describe him. He's freaking rad, man. I love everything about his game. He's like this tough, compact, 6'4", 200+ pound guard who's just built like a modern day point guard. He's going to have to add some layers to his game, I think, but he's got the baseline level of body, skill set, toughness, finishing, a little bit of touch on jumpers, the stuff you want to have the baseline to work from in the NBA. And you put him with an organization like Toronto, who maximizes basically every player they have. It's a perfect fit. Honestly, on draft night, if Jalen Green could somehow get to the Raptors, I think it would be incredible. I think for Jalen Green personally, that would be the best spot for him.
Yeah.
But whoever ends up here is going to be in the best spot to develop whatever skill sets they have.
All right. Moving on to pick 5. I believe that is me. Let me add this. We are with Orlando, who had a very weird year last year. They came in doing their normal, we're going to make like the 8 seed and everything. And then it got to a point where, just injuries and Fultz goes down after looking pretty good. Isaac didn't play all year after having like a great year last year. So they ended up just selling all their parts away or whatever. And so at this point, they're in like a new, rebuild here. Having 2 picks in the lottery gives them a good amount of range here. And they're building something kind of fun in Orlando with their, new coach and everything. Well, actually, they haven't got a new coach yet. I'm sorry. Yeah. So at some point, it will be a new coach. I have a pick, and I think it might shock you a little bit. Let me remove this and go to here. With the 5th pick, the Orlando Magic select Scotty Barnes. I think that Orlando is building this very unique, super long, athletic at like every single spot. I think Barnes fits there immediately for them. He is a wizard on defense. He's a great playmaker on offense. He's so smart. I've watched so many interviews with him, and it's watching him talk about plays and breaking down things and calling out defenses. I think he is ahead of the game for where he is currently at his age. He's super young still. The only knock on his game is his shot is not good. And hopefully it's not another thing like with Michael Kidd-Gilchrist where he had all these tools, but his shot just never got right. And his career, it was just so-so. But I think Barnes has more tools in him. He's bigger than him. He can probably guard 1 through 5 on certain nights or whatever. But I think Orlando needs to take a pretty big swing here. And I think Scotty Barnes is the way to go. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm in on Scotty. I really like the guy. I think he's kind of got the mentality, the leadership to kind of some intangibles, I think, to really help out a franchise beyond just the fact that he is the best point of attack defender in this draft, and he's going to be so versatile. He'll be able to, we kind of throw it around. It's a little cliche, but he can truly guard 1 through 4 and maybe even some smaller 5s. Yeah, I mean, this guy's going to be a weapon, and if he develops a good enough offense, he's going to be a great player for a long time.
Well, I mean, folks keep saying it, but he kind of looks like a younger, more athletic version of Draymond Green. And if he can be that, and then at some point get a shot that's around 32% or so from 3, where it's usable enough, he could be like a future first team all defense, all-star guy, or whatever and stuff.
Yeah, that's the key for him is the shooting. I feel like that would unlock the rest of his game.
Yeah.
It would open up so much room for him in the pick and roll, and plays would happen.
Chip, I believe you're number 6, right? With the Thunder?
The Thunder, yep, absolutely. So the Thunder, obviously, very much in rebuild mode. It's actually kind of funny. They tried very hard to tank, and it took them sitting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for 20 games to be able to do it. Shai's just too good. He won't let them tank. So this is tough. I think the magic is really where, quote unquote, the draft starts, because pick 5 could kind of go anywhere.
Yeah.
I know Kuminga is high for a lot of people. I am not the biggest Kuminga fan. So I'm going to go with someone that I am a big fan of, that I think would be fun with Shai. So
I already know who it is. Let me go ahead and
I know you. All right. So with the 6th pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Josh Giddey from Australia.
Wow, that is not who I thought you were going with.
Josh Giddey, yeah, the jumbo playmaker from Australia in the NBL. So I think at this point, if you are the Thunder, you're starting to take some swings, right? They did it last year with Pokusevski. It looks like that's going to pay off. I'm a big Josh Giddey fan. I kind of came late to the party, but he's this super sized 6'8", 6'9", true point guard. I mean, he really does play the point guard. I think it will allow, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to play some off the ball, but also it'll take a massive creation load off of him, because that is what Josh does. He creates for others and creates for himself. The jump shot is the one thing that, is a little bit worrisome. You hope that, he can make some strides and continue to get better and better there. But 6'9", legitimately extremely high basketball IQ, tremendous feel for the game. The way this guy operates in pick and roll, the way the ball never sticks in his hands, it's a beautiful thing to watch. And we saw LaMelo and RJ last year both played in this same league, and both had tremendous success in the NBA as rookies. I mean, this guy was putting up numbers equally as good to either one of those guys. So I know a lot of Australian basketball people are super excited for this guy, and I think the Thunder feel like they've maybe some people think they've reached, but as a GM, we're very happy with it.
Yeah, I have my concerns with Giddey. He has a very small frame. He looks a little slow, so I'm not sure if he's just getting around guys in that league, which is kind of like a subpar league, or if he's actually so crafty that that they just can't keep up with him. I will say that his passing is definitely NBA ready. It's his vision is great. It reminds me actually of Ja and Ball and everybody or whatever. I mean, he can hit guys in the corner and stuff, and his ability to hit the really effective skip pass is really good. His finishing the rim is pretty solid, but I agree his shot's a little slow. I don't know how it's going to translate with him being the main lead guard. Frank,
I love the pick. He's got great size. I think he's going to fit in with that athletic core there in OKC.
Before we get to the next one, are the Warriors looking to move this pick at all?
We're interested, sure.
Are you looking for an all-star veteran or what?
Who's interested? Who am I talking to?
I was thinking maybe Portland.
Okay. Dame Lillard? Are you wanting to make the Dame Lillard trade? With Steph? Holy crap. You basically have two Stephs on one team. That's crazy. Wow. I think we're going to make a pick here. I think we're going to make a pick.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I think we're going to make a pick. Okay, so I do probably need a second to think about this one with having them back-to-back. I know that a lot of people have slotted Davion Mitchell here. That is not who I'm going to pick. Just spoiler alert there. Yeah, Davion's fine. I think he's flown up draft boards, and justifiably so. They had a tremendous run in the tournament, won the national championship, and he was one of the main reasons. He was fantastic. But that is not who we're going to go with here. So, Kuminga has slipped a little bit further than some people think. But all right, I feel good. I think I know who we're going to go with here.
All right.
All right. With the 7th pick in the draft, the Golden State Warriors select James Bouknight from UConn.
Wow.
Yep. So we are going to go with the athletic, above the rim, one of the best scorers in this entire draft. With Clay, who knows? Who knows if he's what's going on there? He's sat out for the better part of a year now, and he's been injured. And regardless, when Clay comes back healthy, I think he can play right next to Bouknight. And I think it just adds another weapon for these guys to not only make one last push with the Steph, Draymond, Clay guys, but also, thinking about the next generation with Wiseman and now Bouknight. You guys can correct me if I'm saying that wrong. I may be completely butchering that, but above the rim guy, big time scorer, big time athlete. A lot to work with there with Steve Kerr and his staff.
All right. I don't know if it's Bouknight or Bouknight. I don't know. Either way, he has been having a really good combine. He shot the leather off the ball in all of his really big private workouts. I think he had a run of hitting 13 in a row on one side and then 14 in a row on the other side. He's explosive. He's got good size at 6'5". He's only 190, which means that his ideal weight's around 210, but he has a tight handle. Probably consistent playmaking is one of his biggest needs on offense. But he definitely has that microwave Carmelo Anthony style, talent or whatever. I think Bouknight is really good. I had him at 12 or whatever, but him going to Golden State where they can just take off his chains and everything, let him go. It's pretty awesome. Frank, any thoughts on James?
I think he's got the tool set offensively to make it in the league. I don't know about defensively. I think you'd see him struggle there, but I really like him. He's I think he'd come in and fit well on that team. So I like the pick.
I am number 8. Let me reset this. Orlando, I think, just got a pretty good defensive wizard with the ball, and I kind of want to get a little bit more offense here, and I'm going to go a little against the grain. I'm sure Chip will love this pick. With the 8th pick in the 2021 draft, the Orlando Magic, with their second top 10 pick, are taking Keon Johnson. He is an explosive guard out of Tennessee. He is just so good with the ball in his hands. He has a really good offensive feel for the ball in general. Whether if he's on the ball, if he's off the ball, he also looks kind of like ahead of the curve, which is what I'm trying to do here with him and Scott Barnes. Both of their overall feel of the game, it's already like a few years ahead. The only knock is if his defense is going to be able to get better and if his shot is going to grow. But I think he's so dynamic in other ways that he can just get kind of okay, shot and be good enough on defense. But with Isaac and Scott Barnes with him, he can be not so good on defense because all those guys like to have his back here. Chip, what do you think of your boy?
Yeah, I really like Keon. I actually think he's going to be a plus defender in the NBA.
Okay.
I think you're spot on about the jump shooting. He's not a jump shooter. He's more of a scorer. He's more of a get to a spot and get the ball in the basket. He's a little bit old school in that way. I think when we did this the first time around, it reminded me a little bit of like the way Dwayne Wade used to score in his early days with the Heat. He would just kind of hang around that like 12 to 15 foot range, get to his spot, and it was pretty automatic. He's truly like in the most possible term, he's a freak athlete. Like the guy is unbelievable. He broke the vertical leap record at the combine, which stood for years. Yeah, it's unbelievable. So he's got every tool that you want there athletically. He's got some, I think, pretty nice feel for the game. I think he can create a little bit for others. I think he's a really exciting prospect. And man, Orlando, I was hoping you were going to go Kuminga and just lean all the way into the 6'8" guys. Who kind of do stuff. Yeah.
Well, like Fultz, Johnson, Barnes, Isaac would be hell in the wings. I think it'd be a lot of fun here. Who is pick 9?
That is me with the Kings.
With the Kings.
All right, the Sacramento Kings kind of been toiling away in the Western Conference, not really doing much. Below the playoffs for, gosh, I'd have to look at the streak now. They haven't made the playoffs in a good long while, even with some promising young players. I think I got a draft for potential here rather than looking for somebody to come in and help the team win now, per se.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think I know who I'm going to take. All right. If I'm drafting for potential, I got to go with the guy top of my board here, Jonathan Kuminga, out of the G League, teammates with Jalen Green. He is a great scorer. He's 6'8", shows potential on both sides of the ball, actually. But one thing he struggled with was shooting in the G League. But in the pre-draft workouts, he's shown signs of improving that, which, I think that bodes super well for his potential moving forward. And the Kings really need somebody to come in here and just be a go-to offensive option. I think he could definitely be that. And then he makes some improvements on the defensive side of the ball. I think this guy's got all-star potential written all over him. So I'm confident taking him here.
I also am a fan of Jonathan Kuminga. I know Chip's not as high on him. I mean, he comes in with like a man body already. He's also very explosive. He's got pretty good, his playmaking is already, it's not like NBA elite, but it's good enough now where off the ball, if he's on the ball, he's a threat to hit guys in the corner and stuff. He's not a bad defender. He can guard multiple, spots. But his jump shot is going to be a factor. I think we would shoot 22% or something or whatever. It's slow. It looks clunky. It needs a whole, breakdown probably. So that's going to be a whole thing here. But him going to the Kings though, I think that they would jump if Jonathan Kuminga fell to them here. I mean, you've got Fox, and Tyrese Halliburton, and then Jonathan Kuminga. I mean, that would let them move off of Buddy Hield probably or whatever, which they've been trying to do, I'm sure.
We've been trying to do that, I assure you.
Yeah, Kuminga is. I mean, he's got the tools, right? Like you look at the frame, you look at the athleticism. Like it's pretty much everything you want. And a guy that's going to play either on the wing or in the post can really probably do either one. Pretty malleable in terms of like the lineups that he can fit in. Gives you some flexibility there. But yeah, I think he's got a long way to go before he's a starting level player in the NBA. I think his skill set's going to have to take a couple of leaps until he gets there. But again, you talk about like, you know, if you're working with a piece of clay, like you've got a pretty nice piece of clay to work with here, right?
Yeah.
Like you can really mold this guy into what could end up being a phenomenal player. It's a little bit of a like a Pascal Siakam type thing. Like you watch the guy play in college, and it's like, oh wow, like there's definitely something here. And then 2-3 years in, you're like, okay, he's starting to put it all together.
Yeah.
So. I think I think you guys are completely right. If he's there at 9, the Kings are pretty excited.
Yeah, and then I mean, like, even then, I mean, like he'll have nights where he scores 25 and he dunks on some people and gets some blocks and looks like a star. But then he'll have a night where he shoots like 2 of 12 and folks are like, oh, like like it's not there or whatever. So he's definitely a more long-term piece. I think he does have at least role player potential though. I believe Chip is number 10, right?
I'm number 10.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. Is anyone interested in coming up for this one? We'd be willing to trade back a couple spots.
Is there anybody on the Grizzlies that you would like?
Wow, an inter division trade.
Yeah, what you hate, but I feel like I'm not doing my duty if I don't try to get this pick.
No, that's fair. Trying to think, man. I mean, could we do something with like Brandon Clark and Grayson Allen to move back 7 spots?
I would, but do y'all feel okay with that?
Maybe I'm not asking for enough.
Yeah, I mean,
Brandon
I just
Clark,
feel
Grayson.
as though the player there, I think, fits too well with the Grizzlies, and Xavier Tillman has shown enough that you could probably move off of Brandon Clark. And then maybe pick up somebody elsewhere or whatever.
What if you throw in the Jazz pick too? The Jazz first.
That's a lot. Frank, well, what do you think?
I mean, with some of the names left on the board to have a shot at the 10th pick, I'd look at it hard.
So Clark and who? Allen, you said?
Clark, Grayson, 17, and the Jazz first.
Okay, let me remove this. Let me add this, and let's go over here to see if that would even work.
The Pelicans are willing to match salaries as long as it's kind of negligible players.
Okay, so Brandon Grayson. So that's only $5 million in cap space. Will
that work straight up? Can they just absorb those?
No. Okay,
no?
let's
okay.
Are you cool with what about Walker?
No, you cannot. No.
I know. Let's. What about like Gabriel here?
We can throw Winyan Gabriel. Yep.
I don't know if that'll work or not. Let's see. No, Pelicans. Wes Anudu.
We can do that. Okay.
Oh, just so much.
Where are we at right now? It's a little small.
Let's see here. So the outgoing salaries are less than or equal to 6.5, and therefore they can only accept the incoming salaries that don't exceed. So, but it's only like 4.6 or 5.1 here. That's crazy. Is your cap space that bad?
It probably is. Yeah. I mean, they paid Steven Adams a lot of money.
Yeah. Okay. What about Jackson Hayes?
Yeah. He has value. I can't get rid of Jackson Hayes.
What about Kyle Anderson? And you throw in Jackson Hayes. Like pick 17, the Utah pick, Kyle Anderson, Brandon Clark, Grayson Allen for Jackson Hayes, the 10, and these scrubs.
Yeah, we can do that. What do you think, Frank? You're the third party.
I approve. I approve of that. I think all of those guys.
It doesn't work either.
You know, like you said, with Tillman proving himself last season, I think Brandon Clark. I could take him or leave him. That sounds really harsh. I love Brandon Clark, but
yeah,
I think that would help shorten up the rotation.
I don't know. It's the contracts are not working, so I guess we'll just have to pass.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's a bummer. As the Pelicans,
well, the Grizzlies
GM
fans just know that I was trying to get Moses Moody or whatever, but was not to be. All right, so who you got here, guy?
Yep, we're gonna take Moses Moody.
Moses Moody.
That's who we're.
I figured.
With the 10th pick in the 2021 NBA draft, the Pelicans are going to select Moses Moody from Arkansas. I think that Moses Moody is interesting because I think he's as high as like a borderline top 5 guy, and then you look at some mocks recently, and he's sliding even into the late and even a little bit out of the lottery. So I think a 10 is probably somewhere in between, probably more realistic of his range. I love the guy. I mean, he's prototypical 3-and-D wing, could come in, comfortably play a role right now. Probably not going to offer a ton, at least initially, in terms of creation. But the jump shot's legit. He can score. He can play some defense. He's got some good length. He's exactly what you want, right? You want to find these guys that are 6'5" to 6'8" that can shoot and play defense, and that's exactly what he does. And this is a Pelicans team that's dying for some more shooting. So very happy with the Moses Moody pick.
Yeah, I mean, everything you said. I mean, like it's like that, and his game looks like a person who's older, but he's only 19, and he's one of like the younger guys. He has great size, a solid wingspan. He's not an explosive athlete, but he's a good enough athlete. He's already like ahead of the curve. Like he's coming in and he's already going to have like a role. Like he's an obvious from day one. It's like a 3-and-D guy. Like, so like, to me, like I envision him like in Desmond Bain playing, with Ja, and I was just like, oh my God, that'd be amazing. But he's a smart kid. I think you don't have to worry, about him. He might not be a star, but he's definitely going to be an above average guy for you. And he should be at some point your like 2-guard starter or your 3.
Yeah, I think the skill set he'd be bringing into the NBA would make him effective right away as a rookie. But one thing, I think his game lacks a little bit of offensive versatility. I think he could stand to add a little bit more in sort of, he's an excellent mid-range shooter, but something a little bit more under the rim. The game's kind of floating or, trending towards further and further behind the arc. And then that little space open in the middle. We've seen Ja get there. We've seen Trae Young do it all postseason. Everybody's kind of developing that shot, the floater. So, I think if he can unlock certain parts of his offensive game, then, he has huge potential. I love the pick here.
The only problem is going to the Pelicans where things are just so tumultuous right now. You just don't know the ownership and stuff. I mean, like they may get moved again or something, whatever, So I would like for him to go to a more stable place. But I mean, playing, with Zion's not going to be bad for him. I think I have the next pick. We got the Hornets, who had a really great run. That they went out and they signed Gordon Hayward, and he looked like he was earning that contract, and everything was great. And Ball was coming off the bench, and and then injuries hit, and then they slid from 4 to 5, all the way down, I believe, to 10. And then they got rocked by the Pacers. So now they're searching for another weapon here, and I'm looking at the board and. I think with Ball's height, it allows them to take a swing on a guy who's not as big. So let me put that pick in. Right. With the 11th pick in the draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Davion Mitchell. I think he's going to provide them with a good mixture of toughness, defense, just a straight shot maker. He showed his worth in the tournament where he's almost like a lockdown guard where he went head up against like Suggs. He's dangerous all around. And not only that, he's ready to play right now as well. So like there's no waiting for this pick in a couple of years. He can come in from day one. He can start next to Ball, let Ball play, I guess, against the like scoring guard, but like with his defensive skill set, you can put him up against guys who are about like 3 or 4 inches bigger than him, and he's so quick, he's so strong. It's not really going to matter that much. I don't know how much potential he has, but he can definitely come in and help them get back to the playoffs, which is very important for Charlotte.
Yeah, Davion, like this is a good spot. You know, the one thing that's kind of the knock on him is his height. He's not the biggest guy, and you kind of alleviate that there with playing next to a point guard that's 6'6", 6'7", and LaMelo. But you know, really high IQ guy, good defensively, really just a good two-way player. To be honest, he's got some good scoring instincts. He's got some point of attack defense. He's pretty good within the team concept as well. So. Really good landing spot. This is actually a great pick for the Hornets.
Yeah. Frank, I believe you were next with the Spurs.
Spurs, baby. You know, we've got a great young core coming up. Put out of the playoffs or the playoff picture by our own Memphis Grizzlies in you know, the second
so sad
annual play-in tournament. That had to have been heartbreaking, but you know, they have a lot of potential. They're definitely going to have a nice run in the playoffs here in the future with this core that they're building. I think I know who I want to pick here.
Ooh, that was fast.
So, you know, looking at the Spurs roster, we have a ton of guards, ton of really, you know, young, high potential guards. Derek White, DeJounte Murray, Keldon Johnson's a forward, but, you know, I'll include him in that core there. What we really need is a big guy. So with the 12th overall pick in the NBA draft, we're going to go ahead and choose Franz Wagner. Yeah, Franz Wagner, tremendous NBA ability, a prospect. He can fit into a system. That's the most important thing. He showed that in Michigan. He's a tremendous off-ball shooter, great off-ball defender that can read plays, disrupt plays. He rarely turns the ball over, so he's a Spurs type of guy. You see him on the board here. I don't see the Spurs passing him up. He's the kind of guy that the Spurs are going to take and mold into the ultimate role player. I just see it happening now. So I would definitely take him here. What do you guys think?
I definitely think between him and there's one other player that like I'm not going to say until he gets drafted, but that they feel like the most Spurs pick, you know, type of thing. And the Spurs have really built like a mold of guys that they like. And Franz, you know, yeah, I mean, I can see him come in here. I mean, with DeMar DeRozan leaving, I think Gay is also gone. They're going to need like a really good size wing, and his shot form is good enough that you think eventually next level it'll start hitting. It wasn't as elite as you would like for it to have been in college, but everything there mechanically looks really sound. He also plays really hard. He's an okay athlete. He moves the ball well. You know, it doesn't get like, you know, caught in his hands or anything. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, like as long as Popovich is there for one more year, that would be like really good for him probably.
Yeah, I actually think he's a pretty good two-way player too. Like he plays pretty good defense. He's one of those guys that's just been, you can tell he's been playing basketball at a high level for a long time. Like really understands how offenses work. Like ball rarely sticks in his hand. I agree with you. I think eventually he'll be a knockdown jump shooter. I think there's enough there to work with. And yeah, you're spot on. Very Spursy pick. Makes a lot of sense.
All right. Who is number 12?
It's 13 now, and that is
13.
Also me. I have the Pacers.
Okay. You're like third team, like your second favorite team.
Yeah, my Eastern Conference team, and lost a little bit of my favorite this year, but you know, still a fan.
Who are you thinking here?
So there's a couple guys here. I think that they would really like to take. Let me see here. They're off the board. Yeah, I mean, I think I know who I want to pick here. I think the Pacers have a need that this guy can fill. So we are going to take Jalen Johnson out of Duke, the 6'7", almost 6'8" forward. Pacers are kind of struggling to find a consistent forward. They've tried to get small forwards for a few seasons here. They've got Karis LeVert, who kind of profiles as a guard forward type combo, but I think a guy that could slot in next to him is Jalen Johnson. He's a tremendous playmaker, which would just fit perfectly along Domantas Sabonis and Malcolm Brogdon, who are both, some of the best playmakers in the league at their positions. And I think it would make for a high flow, high versatility offense. And he's a little overconfident at times, so that can lead to frequent turnovers. But I like the potential, and I think he has the potential to develop into an NBA level defender as well. So I like him here. Tremendous 3-point shooter. I think we really need that.
He shot 4 out of 20. Yeah, like it's crazy that Johnson went from being this possible top 5 pick, and then he just slowly fell because what people expect, it was like him and like Zaire Williams had so much hype coming in, and just inconsistency has sunk them to like some degree. I think that you were saying Clay with Kuminga. I think that there's like a lot of really good Clay here as well. Jalen Johnson is a versatile forward. He's very athletic. He is a non-shooter. As long as he's not like I refuse to shoot like a Ben Simmons, I think he'll be okay. It's definitely something that you can work with him, like corners and stuff. There's a lot of, really good potential here. The Pacers need something like that. So I don't hate this.
Yeah, I agree. I was honestly hoping that he would fall one more to the Warriors because I thought he would have fit really nicely with them. It's kind of hard to say, there's just not a whole lot of college film to go off of with them, right? He wasn't at Duke very long. And you kind of have to go back with what he did before he got to college. But, you expect him to be a good defender. You expect him to be able to handle the ball a little bit. I agree, non-shooter. Maybe he developed something, but you're not counting on that with him, right? But he's got a high talent level, man. And, if taking him at a spot like this, I think is good for him, and he lands with a pretty good organization with other really good players around him, so he can kind of fit a role and come along slowly.
All right, with the last pick in the lottery, I believe it is Chip with the Golden State Warriors.
Yep, Golden State making their second lottery pick of the night. So we were hoping that Jalen Johnson fell, but I think we know who we're going to go with as our backup.
All right. See.
So with the 14th pick in the 2021 NBA draft, Golden State Warriors select Usman Garuba of Spain. So our first, I guess not our first international player, but the last pick of the lottery will be an international player. So this guy is not going to offer you a whole lot, at least initially, in terms of the offensive end of the court. But that's okay, because when you're playing with the Golden State Warriors, they check a lot of those boxes with a lot of the other guys they have. But there's a pretty decent argument to be made that this guy is the best defender in this draft. It's actually a pretty strong draft in terms of defensive prospects. And he's 6'8", 230 pounds. He's chiseled out of rock, has a great looking body, 7'3" wingspan. Really, really good feet, really quick, twitchy guy for someone his size. Should be able to switch no problem from day one, and can really play that role with the Warriors, kind of the Draymond-ish role, while he continues to develop his overall skill set. So, you're kind of taking a project here, but if a team can afford it, it's the Warriors.
Yeah, man. I've been watching some tape of him. He reminds me a lot of a young like Ibaka. He blocks everything. It's like you said, his first leap is so quick that his second is almost faster than like everybody else's first. He moves very well. My biggest concern is his size. Like he's going to have to overcompensate so much and use his hyper athleticism and his great blocking skills to basically make up for being like 6'9" or so here. If he was 6'11", he would go top 10 easy. He's such a great project. Hopefully Golden State doesn't get this, because like James Wiseman and this guy next 10 years could be like a big pain in the ass. Frank, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think that would be a stout defensive pair. This guy's elite defender. I think coming into the league with that skill set gets you a role right away, and then his passing just kind of is the icing on the cake there.
Yeah,
I think what he really needs to define is his offensive set, and once he does that, I think he really has some good potential. So, great organization for him to land with for sure.
All right, so that was the last pick of the lottery. Let's look at the board. All right. We had Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, Jalen Suggs, Scott Barnes, Josh Giddey, James Bouknight, Keon Johnson, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, Davion Mitchell, Franz Wagner, Jalen Johnson, and Usman Garuba. Do y'all think that there's anything in there that is shocking, or does that seem okay to y'all?
I mean, I would say my Giddey pick is probably one that people would be surprised at. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's personally not. I like him a lot.
I take him three. I just
I wouldn't go that high. I wouldn't go that high, but I do think that that's going to be higher than a lot of people would expect. But I think Kuminga fell a little bit. Davion fell a little bit. Maybe not much, a few picks than maybe people were expecting. But no, I think it was a good.
But
good
I mean, guys fall every year. Like Halliburton fell last year. Number 15 is the Wizards. Who has the Wizards?
That is me as well.
All right.
So I think with the Wizards, we have our pick in.
That was really fast, and I hit the wrong button anyways. All right, here we go. All right.
So with the 15th pick in the draft, the Washington Wizards select Corey Kispert from Gonzaga. I think with what you're looking at here is to add more shooting and more spacing for Russ and Bradley Beal. I think he's decent argument. He's the best shooter in the draft. He's just complete knockdown jump shooter, has tremendous jump shot, something that'll translate pretty easily. He's 6'7", 200 plus pounds. He's got a great body. Really experienced, played a lot of basketball at Gonzaga, played some high level basketball as well. He's not like a super long, rangy guy. He's not one who's going to blow you away necessarily with his athleticism. I don't think he's a bad athlete, but he's not, someone who's going to wow you with that. But really the shooting, the scoring, I think the next thing for him that he needs to add is when guys are attacking his closeouts, be able to, give one pump fake, take a guy off the dribble, either get all the way to the rim or pull up for a jump shot. Defensively, he's just going to have to be passable, basically, and I think that he shouldn't have a problem doing that. But to add another weapon to space the floor for the Wizards, we could not pass it up.
Yeah, I mean, Kispert to me is almost like a taller Grayson Allen. He's not a bad athlete. He's not like a terrible defender. He's usable. Like if Allen was 6'6", he'd be so much better. But instead, he gets overmatched and stuff. He gets killed on screens because of that. So Kispert could be like the best version of Grayson Allen, which is he plays hard. He can make shots. He can jump a little bit. His side to side is not that quick, but he should be big enough where it's not always a problem. And then him playing with Beal and Russ. Hopefully he doesn't get really hard matchups, but it might happen. I mean, him playing off the bench, he shouldn't get killed too much. But I think that this is like a really safe pick for them, and this is like a good new piece that could go in immediately for them.
Yeah, I think this is an excellent pick. I think he's one of the best shooters in the draft, if not the best shooter. Potential 50, 40, 90 type guy. He's high IQ, high hustle, plays great defense. I love it, man. I think the only thing that's kind of a question mark is, like Andrew said, his lateral quickness, his ability to move, maybe on pick and rolls, he'd get worked a little bit, but I like it. I think this is a really safe pick here.
Chip is up again at 16.
Run on Chip picks. What can I say? Okay, so at 16 here, we've got the Oklahoma City Thunder making yet another pick, one of their millions of picks in this draft. So, all right, this guy I feel like has slid a little bit, so we're going to stop his slide. The pick is in.
All right.
So at the 16th pick in the draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Alperen Sengun.
Oh, I was going to take him.
Yeah, Alperen. I don't know why. I always want to throw an S in his first name. But so this guy's fun. Like, if you haven't watched him, just go watch. He's a total throwback big. with these ridiculous post moves, counter moves. It's really fun to watch him play in the post, and he's super productive playing against grown-ass men over in Europe. He's 18.5 points, 9 rebounds, a block and a half, and a steal and a half a game. And he shot 81% from the foul line. So he's got crazy touch on the offensive end. I think he could eventually end up being like some sort of Enes Kanter-ish type player, which I didn't even – Enes Kanter is also from Turkey. I didn't mean to make that comparison. But, yeah, I mean, I think he's got like these nimble, quick feet, these crazy post moves. Will pretty easily get you a basket inside, a little bit of a throwback guy. Got some question marks on the defensive end. He's going to have a ways to go there, but pretty good body, good feet. I mean, you can really see that someone's going to take a swing on him, and I think he's actually going to be able to contribute early on and continue to develop from there.
I think the biggest question that a GM has to ask is his offense so ahead of his defense that he's worthy of like a big pick? Because his post game scoring wise is great. He has amazing footwork in the paint. He's got a lot of like up and under moves and head fakes and all types of things. And like you said, you know, it's really good like a throwback. He's a pretty good like offensive rebounder. He can put the ball on the floor to some degree, more so in the paint, but you know, he's not a bad playmaker. It's just he's only 6'9". His vertical is not that great, so he's not really so a lot of his blocks are those like in Jonas blocks where he's just like 7 feet tall, basically his hands are up. So right. I mean, finding where, because he can't really guard fast bigs, and then he can't really guard really big bigs because he's not tall enough yet, you know, but he is pretty strong. He's from like Turkey, of course he is, you know, so I think if his jump shot can come along and if he can learn where he fits on defense, he could be like a really good steal here.
Yeah, just kind of echoing what Andrew said. I think I like this. He's a great prospect, but one thing is he is sort of a physical mismatch at the big position. Yeah, he's a little too short and too small to guard some of the bigger bigs. Also a little bit too slow to guard some of the smaller ones. So that'd be the biggest question mark coming out of the draft for this guy, I think. All
right. And the pick that everybody's been waiting on, 17, the Memphis Grizzlies. I am shitting myself because I don't know where to go. And I hate that all the pressure's on me. Some guys that I wanted to follow to me that did. I was hoping that maybe James might like follow us there, but he's getting a lot of hype. I feel like there's a couple of guys that I should go for, but I'm going to swing a little bit here and go with the upside play. All right. With the 17th pick in the 2021 draft, the Memphis Grizzlies are going to go with Kai Jones. He's only been playing ball for 5 years. He's from the Bahamas. This dude is an awesome athlete. He is 6'11". He might grow another like bit here or whatever. Awesome shot blocker. He plays his ass off. I've never seen a guy run as hard as possible every single play from offense to defense, defense to offense. He has a motor that would be loved in Memphis. Pairing him next to Jaren Jackson, you now have two bigs that are both around 7 feet who can switch 1 to 5 and actually play fast enough. I think that sets up your post defense going forward. Oh man, his offense is a little rough, but I think he has so much there, and being like a lob threat for Ja early on, it like really like helps him out. He could play a year behind Jonas, and then come in like a year 2 or so there, and then start, and he becomes interchangeable. I just think it's a home run style pick that could like really like pay off here.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's like the way the board fell. There's not necessarily an obvious wing you'd want to take.
I mean, like if Chris Durant, whatever. Yeah. Durante, he's the obvious guy. I just don't think we need to take another safe wing guy that's 24 years old. You know, I wouldn't hate it if he goes here. I think that this is the last draft pick you can take to be like a home run player for the Grizzlies and try to go for upside. And then I just think that, Chris is able to be gotten in like other drafts and stuff. I'm not really liking that. Like, Kai Jones can't be got, like he's so specific. He's so talented, so much potential, so much like athleticism, a guy like that is going to cost you $25 million a year. So why not try to take him, and build him, next to John Jaren? I think it would just be awesome.
Yeah, at this point, he's kind of like a jack of a lot of trades, master of none just yet. But he's also kind of got the modern big being able to move really well. Like if you pair Jaren and Kai together, you've got probably the best movement bigs in the NBA pairing wise. I mean, both those guys seemingly should be able to switch defensively.
Yeah.
He does a lot of stuff, but he is a little bit like kind of blank canvas. Like you can kind of develop him however you want to develop him because he already athletically and movement wise does so much good stuff. The jump shot is not bad. I think it could end up developing. I think he could maybe play make a little bit. I think he's going to be a good rebounder. He's got a shot at being a good defender. Like there's a lot to like, right? But it's a lot of different ways he could end up being as an NBA player. Yeah.
It would be almost like having two like Jaren Jackson. So it would just be like, like both of them are like, long and athletic and everything. Frankie,
I think that would be the big question with Kai Jones is what is the timeline on his development?
Yeah.
Do we want to take that risk there? Because, our team's already kind of burgeoning, making the playoffs, making 2 years in a row here. So I like it, though. I think he would come in and having him next to Jaren Jackson Jr. Whew.
I do it. Yeah, I think it'd be fun as hell. Like, I think this would be a lot of fun.
Chip, you are up again with the Thunder at 18.
Man, the Thunder. Like every time I think I get a break, they're up for another pick. Man, all right. Anyone interested? Any takers for this pick?
The Grizzlies are interested. I don't know if there's anybody there that you want. There is a player that I have in mind there, though.
I mean, so we would definitely need the Warriors pick, right? And I would definitely need the Warriors pick. I mean, would you do like Brandon Clark in the Warriors pick?
Oh, no, it's not that much. I mean, from here on out, just assume that the Grizzlies are trying to get another like late first here.
So what about
trying to trade out?
What about Brandon Clark and the Jazz pick?
Nah, it's not worth it. Also, the Bucks are also interested.
The Bucks don't have anything.
I know.
That's the problem. That's the problem with the good teams. They have no assets.
All right. Who you going with?
All right. So, all right. We go a lot of different ways. We're going to go. All right. The pick is in. We're ready. So, with the 18th pick in the 2021 draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Chris Duarte from Oregon. Yeah. So this is obviously the guy that you talked about. Maybe the Grizzlies taking. He's a little bit older. He's already 24. So that's a bit of a knock on him, I think, from some people's. Like, why would you draft a 24-year-old when you can draft a 19-year-old? And we'll see where they are in 5 years, but. I think he's a very safe player, and I think that when OKC started to take some swings, they're going to start needing some guys who they know can come in and contribute and play a role. And that's exactly what Chris will do. He's a versatile shot maker. He's going to knock down threes. Shot, I think, 42% on over 5 attempts a game last year. But he can do other stuff, not a catch and shoot guy. Got a little bit of handle to him, play a little bit of defense. He's got great size for the wing. Like, there's a lot to work with here. And I think worst case scenario, he's going to be a nice wing rotation player for you.
All right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think Chris is like a super safe pick. He's not gonna be really sexy. He's not gonna sell tickets, but he is a plug and play player from day one. And it's always saying like a guy like Desmond Bane. He showed last year being picked 30. He's 22. There's still a lot of merit for getting a guy who played 4 years. In this case, Chris played 5 years, I believe. And, he's 6'6". He's got good size. He's smart. He can play make. He checks every single box. It's just his age. And you know that drafting him, you're only going to get probably, 5 years out of him, 6 years out of him probably. And so, is that worth a pick here? I think for certain teams, it definitely is. I think the Thunder would probably go younger here because they're not really on that timeline. But the value that he brings is also really good. So, I mean, I don't hate it. Frank, what do you think of Chris?
I'm going to disagree with your last point there. I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has proved so much the past couple years that I think the Thunder need to start thinking about accelerating their timeline.
Okay.
And Chris Duarte is the kind of guy that would do just that. He comes in with an NBA-ready skill set. I mean, I think he would come in and really add some experience to this team, obviously, that they need, and would fit super well around the pieces that they already have in place. Tremendous shooter. He would play really well off the ball with Shai. I would really love that there.
All right, let me check the board real quick. I want to see who's available. Would the Knicks be interested in trading with the Bulls?
The Knicks are going to hang on. We are very thrilled this player is here.
You suck. Okay.
We're extremely excited.
Is your pick in then?
My pick is in.
All right, man. What you got?
All right. With the 19th pick in the 2021 draft, the New York Knicks select Sharife Cooper from Auburn. Sharife, man, this is fun. Like, this dude is awesome. He was a 20-8 guy as a freshman. He had some eligibility issues, so he didn't get to play a whole lot. But when he did play, he was incredible, and he took that Auburn team to another level. If he was 3 inches taller, we're talking about a top 5 pick in this draft. He's up there with Suggs and Mobley and Green and those guys. But the problem is he's short. And that's what's going to drop him down in the draft. I think that some people, it doesn't even deter them. They'll have him around the top 10 range. But elite passer, just elite point guard traits. The jump shot is good. He was not a great 3-point shooter as a freshman, but shot great from the foul line, which is always my favorite indicator of projecting shooting, because it means you've got good touch. Great ball handler. Just really is like the ideal point guard. Really explosive guy. You wonder, like, okay, when he doesn't have the ball in his hand, how is he going to impact the game? That's a question. And then obviously defensively, being so small, there's not a whole lot of versatility there in terms of guarding other positions. But you put him next to a guy like Emmanuel Quickley, who was like a revelation from this last draft. He was phenomenal for the Knicks last year. This dude's going to have the garden jumping. This is a fun spot for him.
What's funny is that is exactly who I was going to draft for the Bulls, because they need an actual playmaker next to Kobe White. And I think Sharife Cooper could end up being the actual best point guard out of all this. And I agree that if he was 6'3", at least, he would be 10 spots higher than this. I mean, like, no, he came in, he didn't play immediately. And his passing reminds me a lot of like a John Morant, where he's he's so ahead of every play. He's so hyper quick. It's just his body's not big. And unfortunately, with how guards are now starting at 6'3", and 6'4", and your shooting guards are 6'7", and your wings are 6'10". It's so crazy. If this was like 10 years ago, Sharife would easily be like a top 5 pick probably. But now it's just, you just need to be bigger, you know? And so, but no, I mean, talent is not an issue with this guy. He's a good scorer. He's got amazing court vision. I would love to see him playing in Chicago or New York. Either one is great. Frank, any thoughts on Mr. Cooper?
Just echoing everything you said, man. I think the big question is his size. I mean, he's got a tiny little frame, but you love a guy with his game sense, his ability. Yeah. I think he could definitely carve out a role for himself in the NBA.
All right. I believe the Hawks are next.
The Hawks, number 20. That's me, baby. So yeah, the Hawks, big playoff run we're still in the midst of. Trae Young's out right now, but hopefully he can come back and make the series a little competitive. But they've shown a lot here. All their young guys are looking really good. But I think one position of need that needs to be addressed is the backup guard position. They're a little short on guards. They have plenty of wings, plenty of bigs, but really it's just Trae Young kind of leading the onslaught at the guard position. Lou Williams plays a little bit, but he's getting up there.
He's old, yeah.
So I think I know who I want to pick.
All right.
So with the number 20 overall draft, or overall pick draft in the 2021 NBA draft, we are going to take Tre Mann out of Florida. He's a guard with a big growth spurt. He has a lot of potential now after having this. He grew apparently 2 inches after his freshman year, coming into his sophomore year. So that kind of unlocked things for him. But, he lacks defensively, but I think the Hawks are kind of building a team that can cover for him there. I mean, you see Trae Young, he's kind of gets killed defensively, but what he brings on the offensive end is so important that it's worth it. And I kind of see that here with Trae Mann as well. He has some issues that need to be addressed, but I think coming into a team that's already winning behind a guy like Trae Young, who is already so good that he could learn from, I think that gives him a lot of room to grow, and I think he'd fit in really well here. What do you guys think?
Trae Mann, I like I think hopefully his shot is real. I mean, I think he shot like 41% in college. He's 6'5". He's got his biggest knock is he's not a great playmaker, but if you pair him next to Trae Young, he doesn't really have to do that. And then he can just be like, hit his other outside gunner. There's some pretty good potential there. He's a little slight, but I wouldn't hate that. And I think that, adding one more capable scorer on the wing for them, or a person who can actually get to take the rim, is also pretty good. Chip, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he's got the size too, I think, to maybe even play some with Trae, as well as being, kind of bring a similar skill set when Trae is off the floor. So, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. I mean, Trae Mann is a fun scoring guard, and that's obviously what Atlanta has rode all the way to Eastern Conference Finals. And so I think adding a guy who can overlap some with Trae, especially when Trae, takes his breaks, then this makes some sense.
All right. I believe the Knicks are back on the clock.
Knicks back. So we went with Sharif Cooper. So we're going to take another guy that I think has started to slide a little bit, and we're just going to go ahead and snatch him up. So the pick is in. So, with the 21st pick in the 2021 draft, the New York Knicks select Isaiah Jackson from Kentucky. Isaiah Jackson is a complete freak of an athlete. He's 6'11", a little over 200 pounds, so stand to add a little bit of weight, but a lob threat anywhere, anytime he's on the floor. You've got to keep an eye on a guy like that. He's also a really good rim protector. Solid defensive rebounder. He shows some flashes, I think, a little bit of being a capable offensive player beyond just a lob threat. I think that's kind of where the development's going to have to happen. But I think he's a fantastic defensive prospect, and maybe reminds you of like a little Clint Capella-ish, where he's a lob threat on the offensive end, really good pick and roll guy, and then can really be your anchor defensively. So they have a guy like this in Mitchell Robinson. And so I think with adding another one in there that can play alongside Mitchell Robinson is going to give the Knicks some versatility, but also some switchability on the defensive end.
If you could see my head, I was just nodding along. I was like, yep. All that's true. I honestly think that Isaiah Jackson is one of the only prospects in this draft that could rival Garuba in terms of being like who's the actual best player big wise in terms of like defense. Both of them are great at it. Jackson, I think, loves to like bang and stuff, down low. He's not afraid of contact. He's a great lob threat. And I think the Knicks would have loved to have had him actually, like in the playoffs against, the Hawks and everything or whatever. And Tim Robinson could be like a hellish, two towers in like, for New York or whatever. So, I think also the combines doing him pretty well, also in terms of like his measurables and everything have been pretty good. All right. 22 is the Lakers, I believe, right?
Yeah. That's me. Yeah.
Would you want to trade this pick?
I would love to trade this pick, actually. I was trying to think of trade packages. Couldn't quite come up with any. What are your ideas?
Do any of the guards on the Grizzlies sound good? Like Tyus Jones, maybe?
We do need some veterans, but I don't think Tyus Jones is the guy. I think we're gonna try to go for Spencer Dinwiddie, maybe.
Oh, so like you're thinking bigger.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Geez. What about a future pick and that? The Jazz pick plus either Tyus or Grayson.
I think I'm just going to stick with the pick.
All right, man.
Yeah. So the Lakers, Anthony Davis, LeBron, they need somebody to come in there and be that third option. There's not a ton left who could just come in and do that right away. So I think the Lakers, if they don't trade this pick, they're probably going to go for just straight potential this far into the draft. And one guy's kind of sticking out to me here, so I'll go ahead and send in the pick.
All right.
So with the 22nd overall pick in the draft, the Lakers are going to select Zaire Williams out of Stanford. The 6'8" guard forward combo. He's a great defender. He's got good ball handling. He's a go-to scorer kind of guy. He needs to sort of grow into his body to really excel at that in the NBA, I think, to be able to finish over guys. But with the handle he's already got, he's got tremendous upside as a playmaker. And as a score first type guy, I think that's going to open up lanes for him and everything. With passing, I think he's going to have a lot of guys open off pick and rolls. He kind of needs to fix his shooting form. He was sub 30% in college. Not great, obviously. It took 79 attempts, so wasn't a small sample either. But I think addressing that, he's got a lot of potential offensively. Like I said, I'm saying if he develops a shot, I think he could be really good for us here.
All right. Yeah, I like Zaire Williams. I've been coming around on him. He's got a lot of potential, and his frame kind of reminds me of Kevin Durant in school and everything. And coming out of high school, man, he had so much hype, and he was just like a quick bounce guy. He was killing people off the dribble. He looked like Kyle Anderson if Kyle Anderson had like a 40-inch vert also or something. It was great. And then he had an unfortunate accident on a bike, messed up his knee. He was hurt for like the first month or so. He had like this really bulky brace or whatever. And then their team, because of COVID and stuff, didn't even get to play in their actual gym. So that was super weird, So it was a really strange year for him. And because of that, he never really caught on, and he wasn't consistent. I think he had like a triple double at one point. Folks were like, oh yeah, he's so awesome. And then he would take a lot of really bad shots. And then he admitted that he relied too much on the hesitation pop back three move or whatever. And it kind of put him in like a lot of like really like bad spots. But he said that he's been working really hard to not rely on the same thing. So I have faith that his talent is going to shine here. And I think that this will be like a really good pick for them at this spot.
Totally echo everything you're saying. Like this is great for Zaire. I mean, the swing thing for him is like if the jump shot comes along, like I think everyone expects it to. I think that a lot of people view the year at Stanford as an aberration in terms of shooting percentage. And if that is true, if that's the case, then, I mean, the Lakers, it could end up with one of the 10 best guys in the draft here. But the fact that he was so bad is the reason that he did slip down this far. But a lot of tools to work with. And, I mean, could be really a big-time player in the NBA. Kind of some variance there, though, right? Like kind of high ceiling, low floor guy. You just don't quite know what you're going to get.
Yeah, but
that's the swings you're taking this late,
exactly.
Right? Like this is exactly what you want to do.
Yeah. And then like in like 3 or 4 years, if he doesn't turn into anything, nobody's going to fault you. Be like, oh, like it didn't work out. I have Houston back to back here with 23 and 24. I think in the real draft that they'll probably trade one of these. But since some of the teams I think would go after them are the teams that I have, I'm not going to do that unless any of y'all have any packages or anything for either of these picks.
I don't know.
Okay. The first pick is in. All right. With I believe it's the 23rd pick in the 2021 draft, we need a little size. I'm going to go with the other Texas big in Greg Brown. Both of these guys are nothing but potential. And Houston passing on Mobley, I think here have to take a swing. Greg Brown is nothing but potential and upside. I think if he can get he's very raw around the edges, but I see he could be like another, Jeremy Grant. He has a really good build. He has really good fundamentals looking at things. It just hasn't quite clicked. I think with a little bit of work, he can slowly build himself into a really multifaceted big, and putting him next to Christian Wood to let him take the brunt of the heavier load on defense. It would allow Christian Wood to be better on offense. I think this could be like a home run pick. He's also from playing at Texas. He would sell tickets. I think it at this point it's worth the gamble.
Wow, you're already saying that a guy's going to sell tickets. That's why you're drafting him. Come on, man. That's what you got to go with. No, I'm just kidding. No. Yeah, Greg Brown was a huge prospect coming out of high school, and he was a little bit disappointed. He's honestly overshadowed Texas by Kai. I mean, Kai ended up being quite a bit better than him, and I think that surprised a lot of people. But you're right. I mean, the guy's got a ton of potential. He's got, he was disappointing this year. I think he underwhelmed relative to expectations, not unlike Zaire Williams. So, yeah, I mean, look, but you're Houston. You're taking some swings. You're not going to be competitive anytime soon.
Yep.
This is the kind of profile you want to go with.
Frank, any thoughts on Greg?
Just a great big man. I think, he would come in and fit super well.
And then with the 24th pick, I have to think about this a little bit because I have two guys on my list. And I don't know if you go with, I think they're at such a bare bone situation in Houston. You just got to swing and hope that one of these sticks and turns into a star. So I'm going to go with potential here. With the 24th pick in the 2021 draft, the Houston Rockets will select Cam Thomas out of LSU. I think when your team is as bare as Houston is, you need a dude who can put the ball in the bucket, and nobody really does that better, I don't think, in this class probably than Cam Thomas. He didn't get to play the whole year, but when he did, he was score first, score second, score third. I think he has burner potential. He doesn't have great size, but his size I don't think is going to hurt him. He just has that like Lou Williams, like Jamal Crawford level of just screw you on offense. I'm going to score. You can't stop me. And those guys have been in the league for 15 years for a reason, because as long as you have worth where you can put the ball in the hole, you will have a job for at least 10 years here. And I think Cam Thomas coming to Houston, you could give him 25 minutes. He'll get you 15 a night in his first year. I think he has pretty good upside. Well, what do you guys think about Cam?
Yeah, I can say that the Clippers are devastated that Cam Thomas was taken one pick before them. I think that I'm a little bit higher on Cam than I would have been a couple of years ago if he was in past drafts. I think I've come to appreciate more the gunner type wings. That I just think the guy's kind of like a special shooting prospect. Like, he's not really even a gunner. He's got the ultimate confidence, but he is such a skilled shooter. I mean, he's got unlimited range, and the free throw shooting is incredible. So the touch is real, and he's fun. Like, Cam Thomas is fun as hell. And I think that he can fill kind of the Lou Williams, Jordan Clarkson microwave guy off the bench that fills things up.
Yeah, I think depending on the role that he sort of settles into in the NBA, it could be a good thing that he is so set on taking these shots. He's a great offensive scorer, like we've said. But one thing I think he could sort of alter about his game and maybe take his game to the next level in the NBA is moving the ball a little bit more efficiently, maybe attacking open lanes instead of taking those shots. That way he would sort of fit I feel like that would be a better fit in the modern NBA game, where it's just constant motion and open shots. But I think he's got tremendous upside here. I love the pick.
I'm assuming that the Clippers don't want to trade their pick. No, we actually like a guy here.
Are you ready?
I am. Yes. So with the 25th pick in the 2021 draft, the Los Angeles Clippers select Jaden Springer from Tennessee. I like Jaden Springer quite a bit. I think he probably fell a little bit in this draft. It's funny, this draft, there's a lot of guys that I like, and I guess I'll always say that someone falls, but there's so much talent that it's going to be inevitable that guys are going to slip down. further than people think. And so I think Springer was just one of those guys that the Clippers would be elated with if they got him at 25. I think first and foremost, I think he does a lot offensively, but I want to talk defense. I think, like, in terms of point of attack defenders, he's one of the best in this class. I think he's going to be able to play one-on-one defense from day one in the NBA. He's probably going to be able to just guard ones and twos, maybe not some of the bigger wings. I think he's probably best suited as a point guard with the ball in his hand. He can create. Pretty good finisher. The three-point shot, I have confidence in that can come along and at least be a respectable three-point shooter. But just a creative creative guard, offensively, and then defensively being able to really, really get in guys' grills and defend at the point of attack. So this could make a lot of sense for a team that is looking to compete, because I think Springer, despite either being, he's one of the 2 or 3 youngest guys in this draft, I think he actually is pretty well suited to come in and contribute early.
I think Springer is a really short. A very strong guard. He can probably play both positions if you put his mind to it. He's also like a pretty good shooter. I think that was kind of like not want to say shocking, but I don't think people expected him, because I believe he shot over 40%, didn't he, from a three in college?
That may be true.
I believe so. My biggest concern is I don't know how much growth he has. People question if he has a lot of potential, or if what we see now is who he is. I mean, he's still really young. There's a reason that he couldn't grow. Do you think that he's more than what he seems, or that this is closer to who he is?
I don't know that he's ever going to make like a star level leap necessarily, but I definitely think he can be a starting point guard in the NBA if things break right. I definitely do.
All right. So the next 2 picks are the Nuggets and the Nets. Would either of y'all want to trade those picks?
I'm trying. I kind of like what I have available for the Nuggets.
I'm trying to get back in for the Grizz. It's really hard.
Yeah, the Nets will definitely trade. Yeah, for sure.
I think the Nuggets are next. So who has the Nuggets?
It's me.
Okay.
Just before I get to this pick here, I want to confirm, if you want to edit this out, sorry, if you want to restart the clock and everything, Jared Butler has not been taken, has he?
No.
Okay. Yeah, then that's all right. Yeah, I think I know who I would like to pick here. Okay. We have a position of need that needs to be filled after 1 ACL injury and 2 potential free agents leaving this summer.
All right.
At number 26 in the draft, I'm going to take Jared Butler out of Baylor. The Baylor Bears, the national championships, one of the main players on the team, the guy that led him there. Just an absolute microwave type guy on the offensive end, Jared Butler. I think the Nuggets really need a guy like this to step in, especially if they lose Facundo Campazzo and Will Barton in free agency. They're good enough to give him space to develop, but as a third-year player, I think he comes in with a solid skill set right away. We kind of know what he can bring as a scorer. One thing I'd like to see is his playmaking develop a little bit more, which it showed some promise in his later years in college. And another thing I'd like to see him really improve at is like NBA level finishing. As a scorer, he's pretty confident on all areas of the floor. I mean, he's a 41.63% three-point shooter. His true shooting percentage is great, but I think finishing around the rim might be something he struggles with early on. But overall, I'm ecstatic to take this guy here. I think coming in and sort of being that salve for the Jamal Murray injury and then maybe filling the hole for Will Barton, I think he'd fill in those shoes perfectly.
I don't think that you can go wrong with either of the guards from Baylor. I think Chip said that last time. I mean, Jared's not very big, but
6'2".
Yeah, he should be able to play both positions. He's also really tough. He's a really good shooter. I think that, he could come in from day one and be better than Campazzo, who's like 46 and he was a rookie last year or whatever. So, I mean, he's good. He kind of reminds me a little bit of like Javon Carter, just in terms of his toughness. And I think he could get in there and really get them like a pretty good punch off the bench.
Absolutely. Also defense, like really,
Yeah.
really good defender. I echo everything you said offensively, and I think he can really be a nice two-way guard in the NBA.
Mr. Brooklyn, would you want to do a future first? And let's see, you're probably going to lose Spencer Dinwiddie. Would you want to do Tyus in a first?
So I forgot that one guy was left. I'm actually going to hang on to this.
Oh my God.
Sorry, man.
Is there any way that like I can talk you out of it?
Let me look at this really quick.
Like we pull up.
Just take a look at that roster, baby.
So full disclosure, I'm going to take Bones Highland here, and I just don't. Okay. I don't think that the Grizz have anybody like Grayson Allen. I don't think is necessarily better than that. So, yeah,
you go ahead and.
So, with the 27th pick in the 2021 draft, the Brooklyn Nets select Nishan Bones Highland from VCU. This is a guy I think I could again see going quite a bit higher than this. I think that there's a lot of he's kind of cut from the same Cam Thomas cloth of tremendous range, tremendous confidence in his shooting ability. He's got some size to him. He's got a plus wingspan. I think he can play one or two. Probably not going to offer a ton, at least early on, in terms of creating as a primary ball handler. So probably would be well suited to play a little bit off. But talk about a guy that could open up the floor for Harden, Durant, Kyrie. I mean, this is the best shooter left in the draft, I think. He can shoot off the dribble too, which I think is important in today's NBA of being able to create your own shot and make threes off the dribble.
All right, that's good. So I was trying to find the Nets thing, and I forgot that I made it blue. I was like, what the hell is a Nets ad? Frank, talk a little bit while I try to find Nishan in this thing.
I think that's exactly what the Nets need is just a knockdown shooter. I mean, we saw it. Their run ended here, and one of the main things that was kind of missing was Joe Harris's shooting ability from the regular season. So I think if you bring in another guy that can knock down shots regularly, that just adds more insurance for the offense for when the big three aren't really or being maybe bottled up defensively.
I think he's great. What's funny is that like I'd never heard of him until Chipper brought him up last time. And then now like he went into the draft combine and he busted everybody's ass. And now he's firing up boards and stuff. I think he started off in like the 40s, and now he's like in the 20s range and stuff or whatever. Hopefully he doesn't get too much hype because then it's like an overdraft happens or something or whatever. But he comes in and he's like a ready-made gunner. Like he can shoot. He's got great range. He hit like an absurd amount of threes. I actually watched a video of him randomly when he was going into college. I think he was like 18 or 19, and he was at this park, and these guys from like Philly started talking trash to him, so he just busted both the rests on the court. I think that's I'm gonna go at you, take your ankles mentality is just who he is, and he would fit in very well up there in Brooklyn with all those guys. Who is the next pick here? Mr. Philly.
That's actually me as well.
Well, you want to trade? No.
Yeah, I'll trade this. Yeah, I'll trade this to the Grizz if that's what you're looking to do.
It's exactly what I'm looking to do. Well, what are you looking for? Let me drop the Nets here.
So what second round? The Grizzlies have what? It's like
we have 40? The
52.
52, yeah. No, 51.
Oh, 51. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a big drop back. I don't know. What do you think? What's an offer?
I mean, like any of the guys that we all know are kind of like expendable are out there. I mean, obviously, I don't want to move Desmond, Jaren, Ja, Brooks, Melton. I kind of want to keep Conchar actually. But I mean, for something like this, I'm cool with moving the like future Jazz pick and something else.
Okay, let's do the Jazz pick and 51.
will it just let us do that, you think? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just assume it's okay.
No players. We'll just do you can just trade picks straight up. So we'll do future Jazz pick and then pick 51.
Okay. So let me remove this. Let me do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to report a trade.
Okay. And the guy that I've been trying to move up for, let me go ahead and do this. Which I know that both of y'all wouldn't have moved up for this guy, but I've been a fan of his since the beginning of the college year. Something that the Grizzlies are sorely lacking is a guy that I think can just get you buckets and just go out there, and you know that he's going to be a headache for everybody, that has pretty good potential, that just has just shot making is just in his hands, and that is Josh Christopher. I think that he's coming off of a pretty weird year at Arizona State. I don't think that the coaching really worked out. A lot of people just didn't fit well together. And I watched like 6 of their games, and there's so many times where he's making all the right moves, and he's hitting picks, and he's doing pick and rolls and screens, and he's passing the ball back, and his point guard wouldn't pass to him on breaks. He would pass the ball and not get it back in good spots. So I think it just got to a point where he tried to get his at times, and sometimes it looked really great, when he's scoring like a 30 and 40 and stuff. But, overall, it made him kind of like inconsistent. I think that you throw him with a guy like John Morant, and a person that can score off the dribble nonstop. And as soon as his shot gets somewhat consistent, he could be really, really dangerous. But he also hits the boards, very, very well, which this team really needs from its guard spots and stuff, whatever. Like a lot of the time, it would fall on like Jonas Valanciunas. So having like a wing player who can hit the boards really well, I think would also be a welcome sight. What do you guys think of Josh Christopher?
Yeah, so I think with Christopher, for him, it's going to be important to just kind of accept a role. I think that that's tough for guys coming, especially when, you're a superstar in high school, superstar in AAU. A lot of times you're the best player on your college team. And then you have to come into the NBA and you have to learn how to be effective without as many touches and without the ball constantly being in your hand. And so I think that's going to be important for Josh. This does not seem like the MO of the front office.
It's not.
Yeah. It's not, but it is a swing at somebody who I think eventually down the line, I think that there's a lot to like with his jump shot. It could end up being a nice, an athletic 3-point shooter with some scoring upside as well. So, this guy's super talented. I just think it's all about putting it all together and making sure that he's okay with and being effective without having as many touches as he's used to.
Yeah, it's funny that like they're moving up for anybody who was left. It'd probably be the guard from like Illinois, Ayo, because like he's 6'5", he's also ready to go. He could take over for Tyus and stuff, whatever, or like he probably one of these prospects or something or whatever. But I kind of think that if the Grizzlies do move back in, it would be for like one of the picks from like Houston probably or something or whatever. Frank, do you have any thoughts on Josh Christopher?
Just like what Chip said, I think the key for him he's coming into the league under 20 years old. So I think he just needs to kind of accept the role, like you said, and there's plenty of room for improvement in the areas of his game that are kind of showing his holes up to now. So I think, he profiles as a guy that could be a strong scorer. And he's got an almost 7-foot wingspan, so I think he could find his way as a defender as well.
He has so many tools. He just needs the right setting and the right coach on his ass. And like, I think if he could get around a guy like John Morant, Dylan Brooks, Jaren Jackson, where it's
nothing, it would be a good locker room for him.
Hard work, a great locker room. It's all love. Those guys push each other. I mean, like Desmond Bane apparently is next to Dylan Brooks every like film session, and it's like, he's taking him in his wing. I think if he can get the right vets and right mix, he could be a badass. It just matters where he goes. Who is Phoenix?
That's me, Phoenix.
All right, now
might win a title this year. It's looking good for him.
Hey, there you go.
Phoenix. So I think they do have an area of need, and that's off their bench. They need a reliable big man to back up Ayton. They've kind of been playing, I think, Saric for most of the season in that role, just sort of as a smaller, quicker five who can shoot. But they need a guy who can kind of come in and hustle his ass off and just be big, off the bench for him, kind of match what Ayton can bring physically. I think I know who I want. There's a guy who's kind of screaming right at me here.
All right.
We're going to take, at number 29, Day'Ron Sharpe of North Carolina. I think he's exactly what we would need. Like I said, a guy that just brings in a tremendous amount of hustle. He rebounds his ass off. At 6'11", he brings the size you need to match up with some of the bigs in the league coming off the bench. And, he could match up with some of the bigger guys like Jokic and Embiid, maybe, as a alternate look defensively to Ayton. But, he really does lack a jump shot. He doesn't really have that part of his game developed yet. And he's pretty poor at the free throw line. So he's kind of what you expect from a guy at 6'11". He's a little raw, but he just brings tremendous athleticism and hustle. And I think having that as a look off your bench, in addition to Saric, what he brings skill-wise and shooting-wise, I think it'd be a really good look for the Suns. And I think you come off a championship potentially here and get Day'Ron Sharpe at the 29th pick overall here, be very happy as a Suns fan this offseason.
All right. Chip, any thoughts on Day'Ron?
Yeah, big fella, like 270 some odd pounds, like can really carve out some space inside. Kind of a matchup problem in the NBA. There's just you don't find guys that big anymore in the league, but he moves pretty well for a guy that size. So it's kind of interesting. Like it's almost like it's a zig when everyone else is zagging, looking for the 200-pound 7-footers that can move well. Well, let me throw this 270-pound guy at you, and he's going to move you around all night. So yeah, it's kind of fun. I'm interested to see how Sharpe's career goes because I think there's a chance for him to really carve out a role in the league.
All right, that leaves me with the last pick with the Utah Jazz. This one's kind of weird, man.
Wait, I have the Jazz.
Oh, do you?
Right. Or is this the one where we both drafted the Jazz?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, I concede to you then because it was actually you.
All right, the Jazz are coming off of a very weird year. It was one of their best ever for the franchise, and then of course Mike Conley gets injured because that's what he does most often, which kind of sank them versus a team that was more athletic than them. And I think it kind of exposed them that they need more help on the wings, but they could also use another good big man. Derek Favors is kind of old. Gobert is being asked to do a lot. I'm just going through my list here. Man, I'm going to go with, let me go put this in actually. All right, with the 2021 draft, the Utah Jazz are going to take Jeremiah Robinson Earl. He's a smart, really good big. I think he has potential to be a very high-end role player. He can play multiple positions. He was really good in school. I think that his shot is very, very doable. It could be, he could really help spread the floor more. And guys like Joe Ingles are getting old. And I think that they just need more athleticism overall. I could be wrong here. I'm pretty sure he was a pretty good athlete. But what do you think, guys?
Yeah, high IQ dude really fits what the Jazz do. Makes a lot of sense as a role guy for them, especially because it seemed like the Favors thing was just a complete disaster when Gobert would go off. So adding some size and a high IQ role player makes a lot of sense.
Frank, any thoughts?
Yeah, they need somebody to come in to replace Favors there. He kind of got exposed in the playoffs, like you guys said. I think, the potential is there for him to come in and fill that role. I could see it happening.
All right. Ooh, sorry, I had to go find him. All right. So that completes our first round, and we are going to be able to do a whole second round because we got kind of started late. But I think we'll throw out some picks here. And some stuff that we would like our certain teams to do. Who are some guys that y'all think will be steals in round two?
So the one guy that I have been eyeing for a while now, I actually thought that too. You were trading up to get when you got the Grizzlies swapping with the Nets, is Trey Murphy from Virginia.
Okay, yeah.
He transferred into Virginia from Rice. Big guy, 6'8", 6'9", shoots the absolute cover off the ball.
3-and-D
good
guy.
athlete.
Yeah,
exactly. And so I think it would be a surprise if he fell out of the first round. But yeah, I mean, if he ends up into the early second round, someone's getting a impact player in the second round. But it happens, right? Like, I mean, the Grizzlies just got Xavier. I would have never thought Xavier Tillman would fall into the second round, and there he was.
I mean, there's like a lot of guys. Like, didn't Chris Middleton go like early second as well and stuff? And just like, the Pistons got him and then immediately trade away because they're stupid. Like,
yeah.
No,
it happens every year.
It happens every year. There's always guys that are a little bit older, and people don't think that they can add a lot of value. And then like Draymond Green, that is coming immediately, look awesome, and for like a good 5-year period are just great. Frank, is there anybody that you're looking at in the second round?
I would just say, I kind of adding on to what you just said there. I think overseas scouting in general has improved tremendously over the last, decade or two, obviously. But some names still slip through the crack. You look at our most recent MVP, got drafted near the end of the second round there. So one guy that I think could go in the top 30 that we didn't end up picking, I found out about him through Kevin O'Connor, and his big board is, I think, please excuse me here, it's Rokas Jokubaitis.
Yeah, he's really crafty.
Very European name. I apologize for not pronouncing that correctly, but I looked up his highlights, man. This guy can ball. He's got some length. He can finish around the rim, kind of profiles as a guy that might develop an elite 3-point shot. One thing that Kevin O'Connor noted that he hasn't even really started to develop is his pick and roll game. And with his handling and playmaking ability that he's already shown, I could see that being a huge weapon for him in the NBA. And he's just a high IQ. I think if he went to the right organization, somewhere like, that's maybe known for taking guys like that, like maybe the Nuggets or the Spurs, something like that, I think he could really develop into a good player.
There's so many guys that I like. I mean, like, you could sell me on like Charles Bassey, on like JT Thor, Isaiah Todd.
JT Thor.
I mean, like, I don't dislike David Johnson. David Duke is solid. Quentin Grimes. It's just like Rocco. I can never say this guy's names. Rocco Pirkison, maybe. He's a center from like Croatia. Yep. He's probably going to go round 1. Earl Timberlake. There's just so many players that I think have really good potential here, and you're really going to have to be on your P's and Q's to make sure that whoever you take is going to fit. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if in 4 or 5 years where like looking back being like, man, this draft rival like in 96, like 2003. I mean, like I could see it being like a top 5 draft all time. Like there's so much talent in this draft, and I hope Memphis is able to move up a little bit from that pick at 51 to get like another possible a good role player. And for a team like the Thunder, Orlando, Houston that have multiple picks, I think this is a great draft to have a lot of picks in.
I was going to say specifically for the Thunder, I think this is a really good opportunity to use their second round picks to acquire maybe a higher pick in this year's draft or some kind of talent from another team, but they've got 34 and 36. And I think packaging those together with maybe a player or one of their higher first round picks could really be a nice package.
What do y'all think about BJ / Brandon Boston? Do y'all think he's I mean, like he has first round potential, but I had him in round 2. I just he's got great size. I just don't know if I trust his motor, and his body's so slight. I don't know where he plays.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a guy you want to take in the second round. Like if he falls to the second round, you would imagine that he goes in the top 5 picks in the second round, just because he's got pretty much the ideal profile for the wing that you want in the NBA. He was just not very good at Kentucky. Had a disastrous year as a team overall. Like Isaiah Jackson really has just now started to creep back up draft boards. He's fallen off too. But a couple other guys, I want to say that like Boston scares me if you're taking him in the top 20, But after that, I'm pretty comfortable with it. If you have a conviction about him, I think the upside is there to make sense spending a pick on him there. Miles McBride, Deuce McBride from West Virginia is another guy that I really like. And Josh Primo from Alabama is another one that's starting to creep up boards.
I had Miles at like 46 here, like a combo guard. Yeah.
Yep. Tough dude. Just like
he's a good shooter also.
Absolutely. That's true. Like it's kind of dumb. I hate when people do the like, oh, he reminds me of the guy that used to play there, but he does have some Javon Carter in him. I really think that Bob Huggins has a type. So
he does. What do you think of Trenton Wofford?
I don't really
he's
see
athletic.
it.
He's good like in the mid range in the post. His range is not great enough. I don't know if he's going to be successful at the next level, but DeMar DeRozan was, successful for 14 years, only shooting jumpers. So I don't know, man.
No, look, he was a huge prospect coming out. I know Memphis, the Memphis Tigers were all over him. They tried to get him pretty hard. He ended up at LSU. He's good. I think he's a good college player, and I think that he's going to have a hard time in the NBA because he's not a great athlete. He doesn't really shoot. He doesn't really create a whole lot. I don't know. He's got the high skill level that makes him successful in college, but I think he's going to struggle with the length and athleticism that you see in the NBA.
I think Kofi Cockburn could be like a really good, like late, just like a really big, like awesome, tough brute. He's just like, he's not super skilled, but I mean, certain moments you need a dude that's over 7 feet to just go in and just be like a big wall. You look at Boban, and like, he came in versus the Clippers like a few games, and at the time they didn't know how to like challenge him and stuff, whatever. I don't know if he'll be successful, but I wouldn't be shocked if he got drafted just purely based on size.
Well, and if the Boston Celtics ever play Taco, he could really go in there and like rough up Taco Fall. So you could keep him for the. No, just kidding. No, it's no. Kofi's
the Boston. Do you think that they take a flyer out on Matt McClung or Luke Garza?
Just the best, the most productive
best white guy. They're just like that guy.
We got to go with them. It's Brad Stevens, so you never know, man. I mean, he was a big Gordon Hayward guy.
With him.
Yeah, Peyton Pritchard, Gordon Hayward. So yeah, you never know, man. Same new regime, but like probably the same
stuff. Yeah. What about, and then finally, the dude from UCLA, Johnny Jurzang? Is that right? Yeah. He really caught fire during the tournament, and he was a big factor in them moving, I think, to what, like the like Final Four, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, like he's definitely going to get drafted, and he shows that he's got pretty good size. He's he can score. I don't know how good he'll be, but where do you think he goes?
Yeah, I'm skeptical a little bit just overall in terms of how successful of an NBA career he's going to have. But he can shoot some, he can score some. He definitely it's just. I think he's one of those guys, really, really good college player, and that's going to struggle to translate to the NBA just because, I think he's not quite as athletic as you'd like, not quite as quick, doesn't quite have the handle you'd like to see.
Yeah.
Just the stuff that you want to see these NBA wings have, he doesn't quite have it, but he will definitely get drafted. And even if he doesn't make it to the NBA, the guy's going to make tons of money playing overseas for sure.
Yeah, man. I was going back and forth on that Jazz pick, and I could see them going like Isaiah Todd there as well. I mean, he's a crazy, really smooth power forward. He's very mobile. I just don't know if he has enough in his game, but he joined that a G League team with Dyson Nix and Jalen Green, Kaminga. So talent is clearly there. I just don't know what they need, because they need so many different things, and only having pick 30 doesn't really amount to a whole lot there. Frank, any last words before we get out of here?
The Timberwolves need a pick in this draft. If anything, I see them trading maybe for something in the second round, but I'm having a hard time believing the Timberwolves being in their position just pass up on this draft loaded with talent. I'm kind of wondering what they do there. But
whatever they do, it will be the wrong thing. So
it will be the wrong thing, and that's why I'm interested to see. But
passing on LaMelo Ball for Anthony Edwards. Anthony was fine.
It's good.
He's good.
It's good. He's not LaMelo.
But Ball looks like he could be almost as good as John Morant. Like he could be up there.
I don't know about that there, buddy. But
Almost as good. Chip, any last words, man?
No, this was fun, man. Really appreciate you guys letting me do this. Okay, so I will say this. I'll leave you with this. I think that this is perfect for King Kleiman to jump up into like the 32 to 36 range and just nab the one guy who fell that he loves. I mean, listen to all the guys who just threw out that fell out of our first round.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and so he's going to find somebody. So I'm excited to see who it is.
I think he's moved up in both drafts, hasn't he? Like he
got
moved
Brandon.
Up and got Brandon Clark, and then last year he moved up, got Tillman, and he got Bane. So I think he's just very proactive, and he does it in a way
finding value in that range. Then man, that's how you build a roster.
I want to call my shot too and say if one of those wings in the top 10 starts to slip a little bit, that he's got the ammo to go get it. Like if Moses Moody reaches like 8, 9 somewhere in there. I mean, he's got the Utah pick. He's got the Golden State pick. He's got all of his own first round picks. I think you could go get him.
All right, I tell you, so one more time, let's look at our draft board here. Cade Cunningham goes to the Pistons, Jalen Green to Houston, Evan Mobley goes to the Cavs. Raptors get Jalen Suggs. Scotty Barnes goes to Orlando. Josh Giddey jumps way up, goes 6 to the Thunder. James Bouknight goes probably like a little early also, but like a really good fit with the Warriors. Keon Johnson goes. I think his hype train has got him in the top 10. Jonathan Kuminga slips to 9, goes to the Kings. Moses Moody slips a little bit, but that's probably like a fair spot for him at 10. Davion Mitchell slips a little bit, goes to a Hornets, but that should be like a pretty good fit. Franz Wagner is a super spur at 12. Jalen Johnson goes 13. Usman Garuba goes 14, which could make James Wiseman and him as one of the most athletic front courts. Corey Kispert goes 15. Alperen Sengun goes 16. Kai Jones 17. Chris Durante goes 18. Sharif Cooper 19. Trey Mann to the Hawks. Isaiah Jackson, 21 to the Knicks. Zaire Williams falls a little bit, 22 to the Lakers. Greg Brown, Cam Thomas go to the Rockets. Jaden Springer goes to the Clippers. Jared Butler goes to the Nuggets. Bones Highland goes 27. Josh Christopher, 28 to the Grizzlies. Day'Ron Sharp, the bruiser from UNC, goes 29. And Jeremiah Robinson Earl goes to the Jazz. Guys, if y'all had a good time with us, know that we will be doing a live draft night. If you're still here with us right now, it'll be hopefully Chip will also be able to join us, but I will play the pick as it is on there, but I will not have all the ESPN stuff. Instead, you will get to hear our reactions. And if you're in the chat, you can talk to us about your favorite teams and if you like things or not or whatever. It'll be a whole lot of fun. It's probably like 2-3 hours of just guys just like shooting the shit, like talking basketball. The draft is amazing. Thank you so much for joining us if you're into it this far. Any last words?
Thanks for joining us, Chip. I appreciate everybody watching.
All right, guys.
Go Chris.
Go Chris. Until next Thursday.
Crowder looking, throws it alley.